Countdown timer skipping. Good morning. All right. Waking up still. Morning. Got a pack stream today again. Fortunately for like tech headlines, it's a lot of TikTok stuff, a lot of Trump stuff. But I don't know, it's nothing's too interesting. So I found some good stuff hidden. And yeah, Mistral AI, which I've actually made a short about, and I used recently, but I haven't been using as much. But I do like is thinking about IPOing or planning to IPO, and their CEO kind of spoke on AI and stuff. So we'll take a look at that, and then the CIA has a chatbot. A generative AI chatbot that New York Times wrote about, which is interesting. Excuse me. And then we'll finish out the stream. I have a few other stories actually, but we might take a look at the Alchemist report about AI adoption of nuclear energy from the report we covered yesterday. And I got some few others. So I'm gonna start with a video actually by the gameplay trailer for Den of Wolves by 10 Chambers Collective, who made Payday games, or the team is made Payday games. Yeah, I've been kind of excited for this game, so let's take a look at the trailer. Oh, it came out a month ago? Well, I actually haven't seen the trailer, so I'm gonna watch it anyway still. Techno thriller co-op heist FPS. Yes. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Was that like those are cars or looks sick already. I'm a sucker for anything cyberpunk. The music. (2020) Funny. Oh shit, I just got DMCA, bro. Bro, this is the worst thing about streaming on YouTube is this DMCA thing. I did watch the inauguration yesterday, but some random company DMCA'd me for like 2 minutes of the inauguration. And it was in like, but it was like, I'm not. They DMCA'd. I was watching NBC and they DMCA'd me, and it was some like Indonesian company or something saying that it was their video, and so I was like, in the YouTube like form to fill out to contest it, it was like there wasn't an option to be like, okay, well, this is like the wrong company. Like, this isn't even the people's who's claiming me's video, I'm pretty sure. And so I was like, I just said it was fair use. And I was like, and then in like the response was like, firstly, I don't think it's even the company who DMCA'd me's, or, copyright claims me's content. But secondly, I was like, oh, it's fair use. I was talking over, it's probably my own opinion, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whatever. And then they actually released it. Like, I won the appeal. But I think it's primarily because it wasn't even their video to begin with, which is insane. So, anyways, I was like, bro, but I guarantee I just got DMCA for this. But I'm pretty sure it's Simon Vikund. He made all the Payday 2 music, and he makes good electronic music. Yeah, and they made the game GTFO, which is kind of like another thriller type of squad thriller game, I guess. But these are all like videos I actually want to watch. Oh, they're making a second Outer Worlds game? Okay, hang on, let's watch this. Wait, I don't know what this situation is, so I want to watch this. Seems interesting in this. I don't care about iOS 19. Like, this has to be clickbait. What the fuck is this video? Okay. Check out Outer Worlds 2. This is probably all from... When did these come out? December 12th? This is before Game Awards. I would say Obsidian's owned by Xbox now. Microsoft Xbox. Okay. I see what they're getting at here. Funny. This looks visually way better than the first. But I honestly just don't care for this like aesthetic, this like retro futuristic, I think is what I would call it. I don't know, it's just not my thing. It looks super nice though. I remember the other one, the first one, just like not looking that good even. Oh my god! Oh Jesus Christ, bro! I can't watch anything. I'm literally gonna get DMCA'd again. Okay, good song though. Oh. No. Yeah, I mean, I don't. This game would be if I like the retro futuristic aesthetic more, I would be more into this game. But I just don't think. It's just hard for me to like want to like it. I haven't been keeping up with game stuff lately, but I do want to. I want to keep it more. I've been playing Cyberpunk, replaying it, I guess. It's been enjoyable. Just been focused, so I haven't really played games. Okay. All right. We'll mix up interesting. Okay, let's actually watch one more video. And we'll start with this Mistral AI. Yeah, so Mistral AI potentially is going to IPO. It says Mistral-backed firm, Microsoft-backed firm Mistral sees the world moving beyond AI models this year. The head of Europe's buzziest artificial intelligence startup said he expects artificial intelligence technology will move beyond large language models this year. Arthur Mensch, CEO of French AI firm Mistral, told CNBC he sees product focus on AI broadly moving away from models in 2025 and more towards systems that integrate models and contextual business data. Yeah, because, I mean, if you think about it, we actually need to start making products out of these AI models. The AI models are good enough now to hold us over while the new generation is being trained, in my opinion. And we actually need to start making products to solve specific problems, not, you know, throwing it out there that it's very broad. We need to solve specific problems for businesses so they understand in these companies, these large companies like Mistral, OpenAI, Anthropic, they could start to build trust with new adopters, people who haven't started using AI yet. But a lot of times it require some standardization, but realistically, they just need more trust to be able to bridge the gap into solving problems and allowing the AI into their business. So we'll see, but yeah, and so I think the systems focus is more so about building trust and building products. So yeah. He says, I think the focus should shift to systems. Mensch told CNBC, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, man. I can't even. I think it's Arjun Karpal. In an interview Tuesday, models are part of a system, but systems are connected to data, connected to tools, and able to actually do things on your behalf, able to act in an agentic way. Found only 2 years ago, Mistral has quickly become one of Europe's most hyped AI companies, achieving a $6 billion valuation and backing from US tech giant Microsoft last year. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Considered a competitor to OpenAI, the startup is behind the development of several open source large language models. And their models are actually pretty good. Like, I would consider them, you know, only like a step or so below those of like OpenAI and Anthropic. Like, Mistral's like a good baseline. You know, they're not like breaking records, but like they're continually being competitive. Is probably, yeah, that's a better word to say. And especially with their code stroll, I think that one's pretty good. But I really enjoy Mistral. I think that their platform, I just like their platform a lot more. It's way smoother and cleaner, in my opinion, than OpenAI or ChatGPT. I do really like Claude too, but Mistral also has a lot of features, actually, quite a bit of features built in. They have a canvas, web search, and image generation. And they have agents too. I have a few agents I was messing around, like helping with writing scripts, helping write newsletters, and like a content coach or content strategy partner. And they're actually pretty good. Pretty cool. But I just like this interface a lot more. Yeah, I don't know. I just like the interface just looks a lot cleaner. It's bubbly. Last year saw a lot of buzz emerge in the tech industry over so-called AI agents. This refers to the idea of AI systems that can take actions autonomously with limited human supervision. Unlike AI chatbots, such as ChatGPT, models are meant to operate largely in the background. Mensch sees AI systems in the future benefiting the large language model that integrated with them. He said that by connecting models to relevant contextual data, they'll become better at offering tailored solutions for different business needs, i.e., solving a specific problem. That's where this is shifting, Mensch said. It also means the industry that is adopting it is going to distill its expertise into those systems, and that's where we're going to see this. And that's where that's going to be necessary to actually drive the value of AI into those industries. Yeah, I mean, this seems pretty straightforward. It's nothing crazy, I guess. Right now, AI is in the talk. AI is the talk of the World Economic Forum's annual forum. This is written kind of odd. In Davos, Switzerland. Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. In this interview, it says it's like Davos, and I was like, what does that mean? The event is known for gathering the world's most influential leaders in business and politics. On the Davos Promenade, which is the focal point of the annual event, major companies from Salesforce work. Okay, advertising. Shops, restaurants building temporary meetings and event spaces with branding heavily displayed the word AI. Okay, let's watch this video from it. Wait, what energy? Clean energy? His French is too strong. I'm just kidding. No captions. CEO of Mistral, CEO founder Mistral AI. Sorry, I was completely zoning out there. Yeah, I mean, EU's definitely fallen behind a little bit. Maybe we'll actually look at the AI adoption. Actually, we probably will. We'll look at that because we're cruising through some of this stuff. I always underestimate how long some things take, and I overestimate other things like this. Um, yeah, EU's falling a little bit behind, it seems like, and we actually yesterday on stream when we covered the market outlook here, or the kind of just understanding Trump's policies from a data-driven approach by this guy. He's Michael Sembalist. He wrote here, which is interesting. They talked about regulation, and specifically with the EU, and that generally regulation does slow things down, and the EU is kind of known for that. Known for the regulation, and arguably hasn't really helped much in their quest for AI, you know, at least just getting into the AI market and like having their own industry local to Europe hasn't really helped, I can imagine. But Europe just in general is behind the US, and really there's like only a few, Mistral I think is probably the biggest, but yeah, they need to kind of maybe do some internal investing in the US or in the EU to get it going again. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the key here. What I'm trying to say, like it's now, you know, the kind of corporate America, even just just corporate, the corporate world, corporate Europe. But I imagine it's kind of, it is a competitive advantage now, and if you're not doing it, then your competitors, and your competitors are, then you're just going to fall behind. And so really, whether people like it or not, if it is helping one company, your competitor, and it's, you're not using that for your own, like, yeah, it's just, I don't know, the market forces are kind of making people use AI, even if like there isn't that much value. But like if there's enough that just to be, you know, your competitor to be more productive than you, then it's like you kind of have to do it. So I don't know, kind of did it to themselves. Hmm. Bro, it's like you could literally see their breath, bro. They're probably freezing out here. Like literally, I guess it's in Switzerland, snow on the ground, like a frozen pond back here. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean they have to build products with the models. I mean that's how they're going to make money, and that's how they're going to prove that it's useful. So I think Mistral kind of started out more as a research, and they still may be research focused, but if you don't want to keep raising money forever, you're going to have to make a product that will bring in money to at least cover the costs of the business. Yeah, that's what I did. That's interesting. I mean, yeah, any business that is already highly systematized will likely benefit pretty quickly from like AI and agents, just because you already have the system written down and figured out, and you don't have to do that step now, like systematize it. And you likely, businesses are going to have to change, businesses are going to have to change their internal processes to either fit in AI agents or AI in general. And any business that already has an efficient process that is highly systematized and has training material that is easy to makes it easy for employees to onboard, will likely also benefit the most and earliest from, you know, AI agents, just because, you know, any pattern or system that exists that like you could teach to someone, you could easily then teach to this AI agent. And it's also likely, if you have that in place, like I imagine there's other tools and things to help with like quality control and just any if they have like business intelligence teams that like understand where there's bottlenecks and such, and like all that helps at kind of like bringing this all together for AI agents. I honestly, I like this guy. He's like, okay, he's like, I don't like, what does that even mean? Like, what does we know how to build it mean? He's like, we're just focused on essentially running the business. It's like we're creating value for customers. Like that's literally the baseline of any business. And the fact that they're focused on that right now makes me more optimistic that they're actually gonna like have a good business, unlike OpenAI or the big American ones who are kind of fronting not fronting, but they're just taking a lot of upfront losses right now to gain market share and like innovation. So it's an interesting and arguably now that I think about like I'm not sure what one is necessarily better, but I do like that actually like he's focused on the business, and I think that's just more sustainable, especially considering that they have significantly less capital for or compared to American OpenAI and Anthropic and the like, and they're actually focused on business is probably actually good. I think I would like that as like a shareholder. But that's interesting actually. Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Hmm. I think though the yeah, just being reactive to regulation is probably the best way to approach it, because I mean that's really all you could do. So I mean I mean this guy's being from the EU or based in the EU. I'm sure he's like whatever with regulation. He's like, it can't be worse than what we have in the EU. So, but also like the pattern with Trump is that it's going to likely be little to no regulation. He's actually already undone. Yeah, he already revoked Biden's 2023 executive order that sought to reduce the risk of, yeah. So I mean this is just like kind of, this is little like just for show, but I guess it's still, he undid it. So, and even Microsoft said it was critical. I guess that's like crazy. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I wouldn't be. I feel like what they're worried about should be like the lack of regulation, not too much. What does he keep saying? It sounds like he's saying energy. Our technology. I'm sorry, guy. Oh, interesting. Right. Interesting. Okay. I'm very bullish on Mistral. I would if they're gonna IPO, I would definitely buy their stock. I just like their product and I believe in them, and like it's more so like they're out of the drama. They're not in any drama or anything. They just seems like they just put their head down and are just going to work. The CEO, the founder that we just watched, like he seems very like mission driven and knows what he has to do. He's like, we're just building a business, providing value for customers. Like that's the shit I like to hear. Not, I don't even know, like whatever's happening with, OpenAI. Anthropic, I like Anthropic too, because they're generally pretty out of the drama too, I feel like, but yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah, then this is the, this is who we just watched interviewed. Crunch AI Lab. Mistral is working towards an initial public offering. Co-founder CEO Arthur Mensch said Tuesday in an interview with Bloomberg. I tried to get past the paywall here, but I just couldn't. And now I tried to hide too much stuff, so now the website just freezes. So yeah, I can't see that article. Anyways, yeah, at the World Economic Forum, Mistral is not for sale, Mensch said, adding that the company plans to open an office in Singapore to focus on the Asia Pacific region and is growing in Europe and the US. Of course, an IPO is the plan. Interesting. And yeah, we just kind of heard him talk about Singapore. Mistral, which Mensch launched in 2023 alongside former researchers from Google's DeepMind and Meta, is often described as Europe's answer to US incumbents like OpenAI. The lab releases AI models and services that compete with offerings from OpenAI and others, including a ChatGPT-like platform called Le Chat, which I'm pretty sure this is like short for the cat. Mistral has raised around 1.14 billion in capital to date from investors including Andreessen Horowitz, General Catalyst, Lightspeed Ventures partners. Company was reportedly last valued around $6 billion. Yeah, so this is interesting. So it's interesting that they said that they're not for sale, which makes me think that he's very not mission driven, but he's also like he wants to compete, I guess. He's not looking for an exit or a quick cash out. Like he wants to build something. So that's good sign. And also it makes me think that if they're thinking about IPOing, I wonder like what their profitability is compared to other AI companies. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if like they actually are making money like enough to like actually sustain growth and not rely on venture capital. I mean, they've only raised $1 billion. Like OpenAI, like even like Perplexity has been raised, like they've been raising like $500 million rounds like multiple times a year. And I mean, OpenAI is just raising like $1 billion. So I mean, this is interesting. It's an interesting like way they're running the business and their position in the market. But I do think it's their game to lose, like Mistral, because they like realistically like OpenAI and like big American ones like want to. They're competing with them, and so it's like that is hard. Okay, we read that. Okay, let's look at the CIA chatbot here because I thought this was a interesting use of generative AI. CIA's chatbot stands in for world leaders. The spy in chief is trying to give its teams better tools and make it easier for the private sector to develop technology for their secretive work. Understanding leaders around the world is one of the CIA's most important jobs. Teams of analysts comb through intelligence collected by spies and publicly available information to create profiles of leaders that can predict behaviors. And I actually imagine, especially the more longer term world leaders, like you could actually pretty accurately predict world leaders behaviors, especially those like Kim Jong-un or like the more authoritarian ones, because like they definitely do things on a predictable cycle. And so like feeding in more information, making like a transformer based model or something, which is like using the same strategies for like generative AI to predict world leaders, behaviors is that could be interesting. A chatbot powered by artificial intelligence now helps do that work. Over the last 2 years, the Central Intelligence Agency has developed a tool that, oh my gosh, a tool that allows analysts to talk to virtual versions of foreign presidents and prime ministers who answer back. That's so interesting. It's a fantastic example of an app that we're able to rapidly deploy and get out to production in a cheaper, faster fashion, said the CIA's chief technology officer. I'm sorry, bro, with your name, Nand. The chatbot is part of the spy agency's drive to improve the tools available to CIA analysts and its officers in the field and to better understand adversaries' technical advances. Core to the effort is to make it easier for companies to work with the most secretive agency. Make it easier for companies to work with a secret. That's interesting. William J. Burns, the CIA director for the past 4 years, prioritizing improving the agency's technology and understanding how it is used. Incoming Trump administration officials say they plan to build on those initiatives, not tear them down. In this confirmation hearing, John Ratcliffe, president-elect Trump's choice to lead the CIA, said this agency had struggled to keep pace as technological innovations had shifted from the public to private sectors. Yeah. I mean, that's been pretty clear the past few years. No, past like more than a few years in my opinion. But the Radcliffe spoke in positive terms about Mr. Burns' efforts and said he would expand on them because the nation who wins the race in the emerging technologies of today will dominate the world of tomorrow. Very true. Very true. Well, yeah, actually well said. I've been, you know, I primarily cover emerging technologies here on stream in this channel, and so it's interesting. And I've really seen the trends of, if you looking back at emerging technologies and embracing them, especially the ones that are like actually getting mainstream traction right now, kind of like AI, and like there's a lot in energy, nuclear energy, robotics, embracing all that, like actually like does have payoff, being like, especially as the country being the leader in those, as we're seeing with AI in terms of like creating wealth and market value. The CIA has long used digital tools, spy gadgets, and even artificial intelligence, but with the developments of new forms of AI, including the large language models that power chatbots, the agency has stepped up its investments. Yeah, and I think it's a lot of people don't realize, but AI has been around for a while, just not in the generative AI flavor that we see today. Kind of like machine learning, deep learning, like natural language processing, a lot of stuff that's existed for years, especially machine learning. That's what AI is today, just packaged in a different way. So yeah, I'm sure that CIA has been using like AI related stuff, machine learning, for a long time, especially for predictive stuff. Making better use of AI, Mr. Burns said, is crucial to the U.S. competition with China, and better AI models have helped the agency's analysts digest the avalanche of open source information out there. Yeah, and I mean, it's great at sifting through large amounts of information, which is essentially what the CIA does. The new tools have also helped analysts process clandestinely acquired information, Burns says. Clandestinely? I've never heard that word used like that. New technologies developed by the agency are helping spies navigate cities in authoritarian countries where governments use AI-powered cameras to conduct constant surveillance on their population of foreign spies. Interesting. Navigate cities. Wonder how. We're making decent strides, Mr. Burns said, but I'd be the first to argue we've got to go faster and further. Shortly after Mr. Burns took up his job, he picked Don Meyerreeks, who led the company's Directorate of Science and Technology from 2014 to 2021 to review the CIA's efforts. The review pushed for something of a culture change. Interesting. Mr. Myrick said the CIA had long believed that it could do everything itself. The agency had to make an adjustment and embrace the idea that some of the technology it needed had been developed by the commercial sector and was designed to keep information secure. Yeah, I mean, I get the point of, like, especially the CIA wanting to keep like most everything most everything, if not everything, internal, just due to leaks and security clearances and just like operational security in general. But I imagine even just talent recruitment is probably pretty rough, because why would you go, make, like, no offense, mediocre money at the CIA, or essentially become like a millionaire through, stock options and just salary compensation at like Microsoft or Google or Netflix even, like there's really no reason that the CIA couldn't adopt and adapt commercial technology. Under Mr. Burns, the agency created a technology-focused mission centered to better understand the technology being used by China and other adversaries, and hired Mr. Mulkandani, who helped found a series of successful startups before joining the Pentagon's Artificial Intelligence Center as the agency's first chief technology officer. Interesting. His mandate over the last 2.5 years was to make it easier for private companies that had developed new technologies to be able to sell those applications and tools to the CIA. I wonder what the requirements are and like what needs to happen, because there's no way that you have to get actually, now I'm thinking about it, like top secret clearance or even a clearance in general to sell the CIA, because that would limit, it would limit it a lot, but also the market for these technologies would probably be hella expensive, just because there's like, the market is so small and the CIA has so little options to pick from. And so like, the pricing power for these companies are insane. Think Palantir. So like the CIA would kind of be shooting themselves in the foot based on pricing, but if they're willing to pay the higher prices to keep security, then I guess that's okay. Conundrums facing anyone wanting to do business with the agency are twofold. First, its needs are classified. Okay, sweet. It's actually going to talk about it. How can you sell something to American spies if you don't know what they're doing or what they need? Yeah. So it's like, do you have to get a clearance to even sell to the CIA? Second, there is the bureaucracy. In his workspace, Mr. Mulkandani unfurled a 6-foot-long chart detailing the layers of approval and the other steps to get a contract with the agency. That's insane. Each of the rules was put in place for a reason. For example, to address a problem with a contract or something else going wrong on a project, but the cumulative result is a set of regulations that has made it difficult for companies to work with the government. The CIA is reviewing and trying to prune those rules, but it is also trying to be more open with technology companies about what it needs. The more we share about how we employ technology, how we procure technology, what we're going to do with it, will make companies want to work with us and want to team with us more. To also just know what problems you need help solving, to be able to know to make a product around that. I think that's kind of important too. Said Julian Galina, who leads the Directorate of Digital Innovation for the CIA. Ms. Galina says the agency has taken the steps to declassify some material to expose a little bit of the problem it is trying to overcome, so tech firms can compete for agency contracts. Dave. The CIA has long recognized a technology problem. A quarter century ago, the agency helped found InQtel, interesting, a nonprofit venture capital fund to help foster companies that could offer new technologies to the intelligence community. InQtel. Its success include helping expand firms like Palantir, a secretive data analytics company, and the company that became Google Earth. Yeah, Palantir. But the CIA also wants more established firms or firms with other venture capital backing to offer their ideas to the agency. This is where the bureaucratic clutter cutting comes in, along with efforts to change at least parts of the spy agency's culture. Yeah, that's an interesting one though, and I think that there's also just like I as a company, I imagine there's some kind of liability and some kind of target on your back when you do work for the CIA. that does increase some cost or something like that, you know? Like, I'm sure you kind of have to take security a little more seriously. Probably has to have some more like protections, like, you know, just because you're working with the CIA, you're going to have like adversarial attacks, or there would just be more likely to happen. I'm not even saying that they're going to happen, but there's probably more likely. You can't deny that, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it just seems like hard to know what problems the CIA needs solved. And so a lot of times I imagine their problem, like a problem that they have, is like they have to bend existing you know, solutions to their very specific CIA problems. And a lot of times I imagine it's shittily done just because wasn't made for the problem, but also like they can't share certain information to be able to get the problem, you know, something solved, or build something to solve the problem. Yeah, I don't know. Many offices in the CIA are warrens of cubicles or have clusters of desks for assistants. When Mr. Mulcandani started, he was given a space on the same floor as the CIA's top leadership, but he was not pleased. Interesting. Mr. Mulcandani recalled that the agency officer giving him the tour asked, "What is wrong?" He answered, "Everything." He was turned off by the small offices, the lack of natural light, and the closet-like rooms for viewing the most classified of material. He ordered a renovation. The old offices were replaced by different spaces with movable desks for meetings and exchanging ideas. The goal was to make the space that echoed the workspaces of Silicon Valley and signal to visiting entrepreneurs that the agency was ready to change. That's interesting, but like the fact that they're doing this to signal to entrepreneurs seems a little wasted. Like, you should want to do it because it provides like better benefit to the employees, which it seems like it did, or like, you know, productivity or something, not just because we want to look cool, essentially. The space is going to drive the culture, a culture of talking, Mr. Mulcandani said. A slice of Silicon Valley on the 7th floor. Whether the cultural changes will stick is an open question, and adjusting the rules and cutting red tape is the work of years. Excuse me, not months. But Mr. Mulcandani and the agency's departing leadership are hopeful. Nobody will deny the fact that, like tech, is literally the single most disruptive force in the world today. Mr. Mulcandani said, and government and our own work is going to be completely dependent on tech and disrupted by tech. I can't speak for the leadership coming in, but I don't have any doubt in my mind that this is super top on their list. Yep. Yeah, this is interesting. Interesting. It actually didn't really go into the actual uses of this actually was more, I should have pre-read it a little more, but it was more about like just the CIA's technology than it is just AI. I kind of clickbaited a little too hard. But interesting read. Okay, what do we got next? Let's look at I want to look at this. This is just honestly way more interesting than just run-of-the-mill news stuff. Okay, let's look at the AI adoption and then nuclear renaissance at least. This other one's is kind of just whatever. Maybe crypto, but... Okay, so this is we looked at this yesterday, and it kind of covered what the Trump administration said that they're going to do. And if you take it at face value, you know, it's kind of complicated in terms of balancing revenue for the government and spending while not collapsing the economy or causing a recession, whatever. And so it walks through, you know, things like, yeah, deregulation, deportations, tariffs, tax cuts, cost cutting, oil and gas, medical freedom, crypto, and kind of like what the consequences would be of it. Now, most of it is, I would say 70% of it is not the best. 40% of it, 30% of it is like milk toast. It's like mid. Especially for the red states. I'm sorry, bros, but Anyways, and so I want to continue this because there's interesting data in here, and we're going to look at AI adoption here. It's a few pages, and we'll just read it and see what we discover. Okay. Drinks going. The Golden Goose. AI adoption trends and milestones. It would be difficult to overstate the importance of Mag 7 stocks on U.S. equity returns. No, Mag 7 is the Magnificent 7, which is the like 7 best performing stocks of the S&P 500. And it's pretty much big tech. It's like Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Meta, Netflix, Apple. Let's look it up. Yeah, Alphabet, Google, Google, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. Tesla's a part of that? Oh, they would show stock price. Okay. Yeah, it'd be difficult to overstate the importance of the Magnificent 7 stocks on the U.S. equity market returns. Mag 7 stocks and the tech sector more broadly account for most of the recent outperformance of the US versus Europe and Japan. Mag 7, 14% of sales of S&P 500 sales, or S&P 500 sales. I'm assuming that's what this is short for. 31% of sales growth, 33% of earnings growth. Yeah, it's like a quarter. 7 stocks out of 500 are like 33% of like sales and earnings growth. The 10 largest US stocks have higher profitability than the market leaders of prior decades going back to 1950. That's insane. Mag 7 profit margins, earnings growth, and returns dwarf the rest of the US equity market. Note how S&P 500 ex Mag 7 earnings growth has been flat for the last year. The share of the S&P 500 stocks outperforming the index is close to its post-1990 low at approximately 30%. The share of S&P 500 stocks outperforming the index. Dang. Market concentration has blown through the year 2000 peak. So regions as a share of world market capitalization. Dang, Europe is going down hard. Japan's more so just sustaining, which makes sense. Going down, it's like trending down now, seems like. But US is just we're climbing. Free cash flow margins by decade for the 10 largest stocks. Dang. Then it goes to Berkshire Hathaway. Is this Eli Lilly? Yeah, Eli Lilly. And Visa. S&P 500 tech net profit margins versus rest of the market. Tech, excluding tech, it's crazy. They are like flat. S&P 500 Mag 7 cumulative total return. I mean the it's still trending upwards, you know, like it's just like not doing as good. Earnings growth per share. Earnings per share growth. Dang. Market cap of largest 7 companies, S&P 500. Yeah, it's like they're like 33%. That's why it's so important to understand how AI adoption pans out. As shown below, by 2026, Nvidia's share of all US capital spending will be close to the 20th century peaks. That's insane. Just as notable, the hyperscalers, Google, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, etc., would need $400 to $500 billion in new revenues to earn their traditional 50% gross margin on approximately $250 billion of annual spending. annual data center spending. That's crazy. NVIDIA data center revenue. IBM peak revenue. What is this? AI capital spending and context. Share of market-wide capital spending. Cisco, Lucent, Nortel peak revenue. Interesting. So I'm trying to think of what this actually tells us, though. The hyperscaler revenue gap. So NVIDIA, implied data center spending, required AI revenue. Oh, I feel like I've actually seen this chart. Projected AI revenue. So GPUs, approximately 50% of data center total cost of ownership, assuming greenfield site. I think greenfield is, oh, I just read this. Greenfield is building out a data center, I think. Like from building an actual building data center. 50% hyperscaler gross margin. I don't understand this 50% margin though. Where are they getting this from? $400 billion revenue shortfall. Yeah, but this isn't gonna, oh wait, as shown below, by 2026, NVIDIA's share of all US capital spending. Yeah, I think though the thing is, like, this is gonna happen. They're not expecting this to happen in like a year or two. This is like long term, but I think they have to spend this money to be competitive. Because if everyone else is doing this, you know, if you know Microsoft is spending, if Microsoft and Apple or in like Oracle are spending money to build out data centers and get GPUs and train data, you know Google's gonna have to do that just to compete. You know, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of spending, but like I think this is like probably gonna play out over like years. How much AI infrastructure is being built? 2 rough estimates in GPT terms. What? That doesn't help. The inference of 12,000 ChatGPTs could be powered by current hyperscaler CapEx investments. Yeah, but inference is way less compute than training, which this is for training, most of this, I'm pretty sure. The training of 1,000 computationally intensive GPT-5s could be powered by NVIDIA's estimates 2026 GPU sales. Yeah, but you have to remember again, this is being divvied up by, you know, hundreds of companies potentially. Obviously with, you know, the big few getting the most, but the co-location data center market has doubled in just 4 years, with vacancy at just 3% due to soaring demand. Occupancy has increased by 30% since 2020. Construction has jumped 7 times in 2 years. Projected pre-releasing rates are 84%. Project pre-releasing rates? I don't know what that means. In data center, asking rents have increased by 13 to 37%. Yeah, but like that just makes sense. The demand is insane right now, so like, I mean, demand is super high, so I mean, yeah. But this, you know, potentially could, you know, even out as like yeah, I mean, they're co-location. Yeah, construction has jumped 7 times in 2 years. I don't know if that's construction spend or actual data centers, but if this catches up, I imagine that prices will stabilize. AI adherents believe that all of this investment will create a radically different world. Due to AGI, most diseases could be cured over the next decade or two. Superintelligence could make fixing the climate and establishing a space colony a reality. Yeah, okay. AI will end disease and poverty and bring a renaissance of liberal democracy and human rights. Many will be moved to tears as they behold these accomplishments. AI is a thing of transcendent beauty. 80% of jobs will be automated with AI in 3 to 5 years. By 2030, over 100,000 humanoid robots will be deployed in the real world. Hundreds of millions of AGIs could automate AI research, compressing a decade of algorithm progress, 5+ orders of magnitude, into 1 year. We would rapidly go from human level to vastly superhuman AI systems. I don't not agree with any of this. I just don't know about the timeline of these. This third one is like the yeah, this third one is like the oddest, or the least likely I see it happening. This one is just like like it's hard, like, what am I trying to say? When people make predictions that are so out there, and it's hard to think about how, like, directly how the thing that you're predicting will happen will solve a problem. So how superintelligence will fix the climate or establish a space colony, it's hard for me to believe them. Like, you need to have them more directly connected or share more first order benefits of the thing that you're predicting will happen. Not like, you know, this is like fixing the climate is probably like a 5th order benefit of like super intelligence, you know, and it's not necessarily the first one. I don't know, like the hype that I've been seeing lately has just been like weird, and like it's been borderline like lying. I was like, you know, it's like you go from essentially like hype man to a shill to just liar, like lying liar. Like, I don't know, kind of been weird lately. Some of the most remarkable machine learning and AI achievements are taking place in biomedicine. One example is Evo, a large language model that has been trained on genomes of 2.7 million microbes rather than on words. The goal: decode and design DNA, RNA, and protein sequences from the molecular to genomic scale with high degrees of accuracy. Interesting. Okay, let's return to Earth for a moment. Okay, thank you, bro. Well, the hyperscalers are immensely profitable. Their capital spending and R&D outlays as a share of revenues have been creeping up over the last year, something that our large cap US growth managers are paying close attention to. Note how AI models with greater parameter intensity cost a lot more to train. Yeah, I mean, the higher parameters, the more cost to train. Yeah. The stakes are high, as a sign of what can go wrong after an era of excessive investment, even when resulting infrastructure is eventually utilized in full. Consider Corning and its fiber optic business. Okay, wait, this as a sign of what can go wrong after an era of excessive investment, even when resulting infrastructure is eventually utilized in full. I see. Consider Corning and fiber optic business. Corning earned approximately $4 billion in the year 2000 in this segment, but after the dot-com collapse, Corning didn't surpass that revenue again until 2018 in nominal terms. What does the nominal terms mean at that point? I think nominal as in like stabilized terms, non-inflationary bubble. And revenues are still below year 2000 levels in real terms. Maybe, okay, maybe that's what real terms means. Similarly, the number of undersea fiber optic cables deployed globally each year did not surpass the year 2000 levels until 2020. This is actually an interesting observation. So, while Nvidia has yet another blowout quarter of earnings in Q3, up 94% versus the same quarter in 2023, gross margins of 73%, I'm more focused on what happens to the hyperscalers responsible for Nvidia's growth. Yeah, I mean, Nvidia is selling the pickaxes and shovels. This is interesting though, because I definitely think AI is it's emitting trends that are similar to previous emerging technology, specifically previous emerging technologies adoption. So this is interesting. Hyperscalers capital expenditure and R&D as a share of revenue percent. Metaverse money incineration. That's so funny. Just like straight up. This is like metaverse. Oh yeah. Oh, metaverse. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. I thought I was just saying meta. Yeah, metaverse money incineration, bro. They were burning so much money. It's insane. Yeah, and they chilled out. But they're still spending so much more compared to the rest as in terms of like a share of revenue. Which is interesting. That's interesting on Meta. Then we have Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon. Interesting. Estimated training cost of compute of select AI models. Training cost. Yeah, I was gonna say log scale. This isn't. It's interesting because it's just how it scales with things being expensive. What is this? Training compute. Training cost. These are like early. GPT-3, Google Lambda, Meta Llama 2. These are kind of old, no offense. GPT-4. Corning Optical Communications revenue. New undersea cable deployed per year. Interesting. AI adoption trends. Look, I know I'm skipping ahead, but this is actually not that comprehensive, actually. I've been reading a lot of surveys on AI adoption, and like this is, yeah. Anyway, okay, we'll get there. There's a lot of positive news from surveys of adoption levels and return on AI investment, but surveys are not a proxy for the actual amount of money companies will be willing to pay for inference-based models in their daily operations. The most striking figure is practically every surveyed CIO plans to adopt AI applications in the near future. More than 80% of existing AI applications have met or exceeded expectations. Larger companies reported the highest success rates, and AI adoption appears to be at or above internet and computer adoption rate curves. So AI adoption is on track. I just think investors will be increasingly sensitive to whether hyperscalers are earning a positive ROI on their capital expenditure outlays. Yeah, but I just don't think that this year is going to be the year where they are care about like their return on investment for the capital expenditures, because they're still going to be spending a shit ton of money on capital expenditures this year, like building data centers. Meta's building their literally undersea cable across the world, with spending buying new NVIDIA like BG200 or DGX series Blackwell chips. Like there's still a lot of money for them to be spending, and even just training models, like that costs a lot of money. 50% of companies, yeah, I mean we've like looked at this quite a bit on stream. Even 500 decision makers, positive ROI. 90% of Gen AI adopters report achieving tangible benefits. Google Cloud. These are all just huge companies, like 10 million plus in revenue. But I guess that's who the hyperscalers are generally targeting, probably. So it matters in that context. In production will be in production in 2024. That's interesting, actually, because it seems like most of them should already be in a production by end of year, last year. But I do think, though, this year, and I've said this before, that it's going to be more they're going to be more like selling and acquisitions of like startups and such, just because those companies actually need to prove ROI and things to either raise more money or to make money to sustain the business. So I think this year will be a big catalyst for all of these in production or like these rollouts that happened last year, to actually see if it's making getting more ROI. And according to this, it says that they are, but it seems like there's still significant amount of rollouts that will be happening or have like concluded or are concluding soon, and then we'll need to see based off of those. And arguably, I bet you there's something about the actual demographic of the customers who are still rolling things out versus those who have already rolled things out and are surveying positive ROI. Those are likely more innovators, early adopters, and these guys are more early majority, maybe. Yeah. Gen AI products return on investment versus expectation. Most of them met, this seems like. Met or exceeded, but that's good. Companies reporting that return on investment of Gen AI products exceeds expectations. Interesting that the higher the rollout, the higher the return on investment. Makes sense, I guess. Oh, I see. Yeah, the response revenue is higher. AI adoption relative to other major technologies. They're saying we're at a 40% adoption rate. Interesting. Computers. I feel like this is more related to the internet, or more likely like the internet. I don't know. I could also computer. It does compare well to the computer too. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Other AI issues. Energy. On data center energy demand, markets are way ahead of themselves regarding potential for nuclear power to represent a greater share of the data center energy consumption by 2030 or beyond. I think it's mainly beyond 2030 because I think there's a lot of projects that are going to be finished early 2030s or just in the 2030s. Whether grid-based or behind the meter, see the section, and I imagine grid-based is something that is open for everyone to use on the grid, or something behind the meter, as in specifically for the only for the data center. I've never heard this term before. The hyperscalers will probably have to hyperscale back their commitments for green power consumption and rely heavily on natural gas as they have been. Yeah, and this is I think is already a consensus. The pie chart shows power consumption of US data centers based on their respective locations, their megawatt of power, maximum power consumption, and the grid mix in that state. US data center power demand was actually flat from 2015 to 2019, despite a tripling in workload. The primary reason efficiency gains as data center workloads shifted from traditional centers to more efficient cloud and hyperscaler centers. The transition has mostly run its course. Wait, I'm just realized. So it was flat for 4 years, despite the tripling of workload, due to efficiency gains as data center workloads shifted from traditional centers to more efficient cloud and hyperscaler centers. Interesting. The transition has mostly run its course now that the cloud hyperscale share of compute instances has reached 95%, leading to slower improvements in data center power intensity, bar chart, and projections of rising US power demand to 2030 and beyond. Dang, 17% is still coal? That's crazy. And hydro is only 7%. Hydro just seems the most free, in my opinion. Like, I know it's the hardest to make, but like, I can't believe we don't have any more hydro. Data center power intensity. Dang, it's actually like consistently gone down a lot. Wow. I mean, it's definitely plateaued a bit, but still. Okay, are language models getting better? There's a lot of debate about this, but I care a lot more about the adoption and satisfaction rates on the prior page than model scoring, since the former is more indicative of whether today's models meet the needs of companies who actually pay for them. Yeah, and I agree with this too. I think looking at future speculation is hard. When you already have a model that is actually solving problems and companies are paying for. But also if you look at like in terms of continuing to grow, I guess it just really matters about adoption rate right now, because if the existing ones solve the problems well, I mean, then like they'll actually be able to make their money back, I guess. If you're interested in model scoring, there are several benchmarks. In the usual suspects hopscotch each other with higher scores over time. Yeah, exactly. The challenge, better performance, generally comes at cost in terms of compute time. Yep. Note on the left how much better OpenAI is getting at solving pattern extrapolation problems, but at a higher cost per task. Yeah. It literally costs like $5,000 for like solving one problem with O3 tuned to high. Yeah, it's crazy. US data center electricity use with projections. Holy shit. Terawatts. You 1.9% of electricity generation. I see. Okay, so data centers take up 1.9%, 4%, and then 12%, 6 to 12%. I imagine in the higher range. Dang. Other AI issues, semiconductor supply chains. Yeah, I mean this is realistically the biggest bottleneck right now, I think. Because the data center power stuff, all the big data centers are generally still being built. And so there's some catch up that'll be done. Excuse me. Last fall, China deployed a record 125 aircraft and drills simulating a blockade of key Taiwan ports, along with Liaoning aircraft carriers and ships. How sensitive is Taiwan to a naval blockade? Very. As shown on the left, Taiwan's reliance on energy imports is practically the highest in the world, ranking alongside islands like Singapore, Hong Kong, and Cyprus, microstates like Luxembourg, and energy-poor nations like Belarus. Which bring me to this. Why did Taiwan shift away from nuclear power, its only source of energy independence? Yeah, interesting. By doing so, Taiwan has effectively increased its sensitivity to a Chinese naval blockade, reducing nuclear's share of electricity generation from 50% in the 1980s to 5% today is one of the most baffling geopolitical decisions I've ever seen. That's true. Singapore, Hong Kong, Morocco, Taiwan, Cyprus, Belarus, Luxembourg, Philippines, Estonia, Japan. Net import of fossil fuels and shares. That's crazy. Japan. Estonia, Lithuania, South Korea. Interesting. Ireland, Italy, Belgium, Greece, Turkey. Wow, a lot of the EU. This is an interesting chart. And then their share of electricity generation. NVIDIA and TSMC. According to Tech Insights, NVIDIA controls 95% of the market for GPUs that accelerate AI tasks, while TSMC has a 92% share in advanced AI chip production, according to BCG, including NVIDIA's chip designs that TSMC produces in its foundries. An argument can be made that TSMC NVIDIA is the most important symbiotic relationship in the tech sector when looking at current valuations. Yeah, I believe that. NVIDIA is TSMC's second largest customer after Apple at 10% of TSMC's revenue. That's it though? That's crazy. NVIDIA is reportedly pushing TSMC to deliver new chip architecture every year instead of every 2 years. Wow. While redesign issues related to overheating has delayed NVIDIA's Blackwell chip rollouts in 2025, the product is apparently sold out for the next 12 months, with NVIDIA CEO describing demand as insane. Blackwell GPUs have more than 2 times the memory of NVIDIA's current Hopper GPU, greater than 10 times the interconnection speed measured in terabytes per second, and 25 times greater energy efficiency. This is insane. Global Foundry revenue share distribution. Wow. Korea has 11%. SMIC, this is China's. SMIC, HH Group, Next Chip. SMIC is like the biggest. They're like the TSMC of China. UMC, PSMC. Why does everyone have MC in Taiwan? Interesting. All right, that's it. What nuclear renaissance? Wake me when we get there. Yeah, exactly. Might cover this tomorrow. Might even just cover the rest of this tomorrow. Cool. Yeah, this is an interesting read. But really, I've read quite a few of these now, and they all kind of tout the same thing though. Like it's like energy, data center, semiconductor stuff, and like just all the bottlenecks that exist each one. It's just, you know, we're gonna have a catch up. There's probably gonna be an over supply for a bit. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just a wait and see for supply chains to catch up. Once we actually, like, I am curious, like, what our actual production could be or throughput could be in terms of energy, data centers, like, you know, new GPUs and things for training and compute. What it's going to be like once the bottlenecks are gone, and what other bottlenecks then will actually come up, because I could guarantee you there's going to be other bottlenecks just due to geopolitical tensions or you know, shortage of materials. So yeah, cool. All right, hope everyone enjoyed the stream today. A little shorter, but you know how it goes. Back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll just might cover the other half of this report here and just see what other news we got. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Yeah, have some other things coming down the pipeline, so share those when I'm done. But thanks everyone for tuning in. See you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. Appreciate you showing up. Bye. Also, I'll get my new ending screen tomorrow. Or soon at least.